recording in 3, 2, and 1.
Hold on to your Aquanet, Nerdery and Murdery fans. We're diving headfirst into the glitter-soaked, guitar-shredding world of glam metal. Crank up the nostalgia because we're taking you on a journey through the days when power ballads ruled, and the only thing louder than the amps was the fashion. Get ready for a podcast that's louder than a stadium roar and more electrifying than a guitar solo. Nerdery and Murdery glamming it up and rocking your eardrum.
Awesome. Welcome to episode 127 of Nerdery and Murdery.
Big 127. I'm Zig with your Nerdery.
And I'm Geoffrey with your Murdery, and welcome to another week of the highs and the lows and the up and the down, the good and the bad, and the nerd and the murd. And we have again with us two special guests. We have Mike from Two Geeks and a Microphone.
Hello, all you metalheads out there.
And his wife Brenda has joined us again as well.
Hello.
She's a fan of both shows. So,
what was that? A
And
mouse?
And a fan of metal from last
Yes.
year. Or hair metal.
yeah.
Hair metal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, before
I'm the metal fan. She's the hair metal fan, but I like both genres.
Before we get into it, I have to take an aside and get on my soapbox and my complaint box for a minute. Two parts of this actually, which the first part of it I think is very funny. Zig and I worked together for many years. I'm not going to say the name of the company. That's a bad thing. But he left the company and went to work for another company. And then I left that company and went to work for another company. And now my company has bought his company out. So we're working together again.
We work for the same company. Oh, I hit you up on a WebEx the other day. I hope you saw it.
I did. I saw it. So I think that's really kind of funny. Even though we're working in two different cities, we're with the same company again. But my complaint, and this actually goes to the prescription industry, the racket that the prescription industry is. So I'm a diabetic, and about a year and a half ago, my doctor put me on an injectable, a weekly injectable diabetic medicine. It's not true like taking insulin shots daily. You don't do that. I don't have to do that because I'm type 2 diabetic. But anyway, without insurance, this prescription is $3,000. Under,
A month?
for 90 days. $3,000. Now, with my old insurance, going to CVS for 90 days was $550. But if I went to the pharmacy of the company I worked for, it was $80 for 90 days. Well, now I'm with a new company and I have to go back to using CVS, and it's $25 for 90 days. It's just, I don't get it.
This is why the rest of the world laughs at us.
Yes.
We cannot figure this out.
No, it's
what
absolutely
really
ridiculous.
makes me sad is the healthcare systems that are in place in most of the world. We paid to set up back in the 50s with the Marshall Plan. We cannot pay to do it for ourselves for some reason.
Yeah, it's just very weird. But prescriptions, it's such a huge racket, especially I mean for diabetics it can be so bad. Oh, is that
See if you can get one of these cards, and it may help you.
I can't see what it is.
It's a prescription card that you can get for free. Just search for pharmacy savings card. And they're available to anybody. You know, I think I got this at my doctor's office. Yeah. And you can just go online. You can get one online and stuff. I don't know. Sometimes some of the prescriptions are covered by this. Now it says up to 80% off of it. Not everything is that, you get that much.
Yeah, and your insurance may be cheaper depending on.
Yeah.
Brenda has a acid reflux that she has to have through prescription, and it's not as expensive as yours, but it's pretty expensive.
Do you take pantoprazole?
Yes.
Pantoprazole for me under my insurance is free.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I take it twice a day, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
quite expensive.
And the insurance didn't want to pay. They kept saying, "No, you need over the counter."
Well, they had to get the doctor's approval,
Yep.
and the doctor was like, "Yeah, she needs this. She needs
Yeah.
this." You know. And so our doctor gave me this card, and then I took it to we go to Walmart for our pharmacy, and I took it in there, and they said, "Well, we can try." And they punched it in, and they said, "Yeah, sure, you use." Now, again, it's still pretty expensive, but
Mhm.
it's nowhere near as expensive as it would be had we not used this card. So
Yeah.
might be something you can check out. I'm not, I'm not guaranteeing they'll cover it.
Sure.
They may not, but it's worth a shot.
And
Yeah.
we're not sponsored by them.
No.
Um, you know what you get when you take 1,000 insurance executives and put them at the bottom of the ocean? You know what you
Same-
have?
Same thing with lawyers, right?
Yeah, he's a very good start.
Right.
Yeah. Both my mom and my dad were in the insurance industry for many years, and it's
Yeah.
such a racket. Such a racket. Anyway, that was my soapbox. So this is part 2. So if you haven't listened to episode 126, go back and listen to that first.
We'll wait.
This-
Hold on.
this-
Okay, they're back.
This is the second part of that. And so Zig, I will let you take over with the nerdery side of the house.
Okay, you guys both know the list ahead of time, so we'll just talk about it as we go. So the last song on the list was "Welcome to the Jungle" by Guns N' Roses, which was about dropping yourself off in the middle of that crazy scene that was going on in LA at the time.
Right.
Which is why I agreed it should be in there. Even though that music may not necessarily be hair metal, it definitely crossed over. That was Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses formed out of the blending of two bands, Hollywood Rose and LA Guns. I want to actually talk about LA Guns because they reformed after all that rigmarole. So LA Guns. Oh wow, look at and all of my nose. They just jumped around. LA Guns is an American glam metal band from Los Angeles, formed in '83. The lineup currently consists of Tracy Guns, Phil Lewis, Ace Von Johnson, Johnny Martin, Adam Hamilton, and Sean Duncan. The first incarnation of the group was formed by Tracy Guns and Rob Gardner in '83 and merged with fellow Los Angeles group Hollywood Rose to form Guns N' Roses, which is why the band is called Guns N' Roses.
Right.
Rose, LA Guns. In March of '85. After only a brief tenure in the band, Guns reformed LA Guns with a new lineup consisting of Paul Black, Mick Cripps, Robert Stoddard, and Nikki Alexander. The song I picked for this list is the Ballad of Jane. I like this tune. I really don't care for anything else by LA Guns. The Ballad of Jane is the only one I like. That's why I picked it. You guys could probably speak more to LA Guns than I could.
Not really. I had never heard LA Guns or Hollywood Rose separately. I think they're better as Guns N' Roses. I was not a fan of this song.
Mike?
I'm not a huge LA Guns fan. The song is okay. It's just okay to me.
Yeah.
I do think we saw LA Guns open for somewhat. They may have opened for Poison one of the times we went and seen Poison.
That's
but
a good time to go to the bathroom.
well, we're all
Right.
goofing off and stuff during most of the opening. It depends on who the opening act is, of course.
Sure.
But
We saw Slaughter.
Well,
yes,
I will tell you the worst opening pair I ever saw when I went to go see In Excess Kick Off America, which was the first concert I ever went to.
Oh wow.
They opened the opening band was Public Image Limited, PIL. And those are so different of fan bases that PIL got booed off the stage.
That breaks my heart.
They
really breaks my heart, but
They-
I agree with you.
They got
That's
booed.
the wrong pairing.
Yeah, they got booed off the stage.
We saw Faith No More open for Robert Plant.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's not a great
Wow.
pairing.
and we went to see Faith No More.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I would tell
punk
you,
and heavy metal, baby. That's Faith No More.
I love Faith No More, man. Mike Patton.
Mike Patton. Yeah. Did you ever listen to him before Mike Patton?
With Mr. Bungle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got into Mr. Bungle a little bit. I prefer Faith No More. But then I also listened to Faith No More's first two albums that Mike was not the lead singer of. It was Chuck Mosley.
Yeah, Chuck Mosley.
Bad Brains.
I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah, Chuck Mosley of Bad Brains.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm pretty steeped in Faith No More.
Yeah, we were sitting next to people that were there for Robert Plant. We were sitting down and they were like, stand up. And we're like, yeah, we didn't come here to see them.
But when he played long cool one, old whatever,
Tall cool one.
Tall cool one. And then I stood up. I was like, all right. See, I'm not a big Zeppelin fan.
That surprises me.
Yeah, I know it surprises a lot of people. I'm not a huge Zeppelin fan, and I'm not a huge Stone fan. And I'm
not a Stones fan. I'm not a Stones fan at all.
And I blame that on KC95 because KC95 would literally, you could set your watch by the hour of when they would play both Led Zeppelin and Rolling Stones. And I just got so sick and tired of hearing both of those bands that I got to where I didn't like them, you know. so yeah, when we heard Faith No More was coming, we're like, yeah, let's go see Faith No More. They're opening for Robert Plant. Okay, well, you know, he's legendary. All right. And yeah.
I like the Honey Dripper stuff he did, the 1950 stuff he did with some of the other guys.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Oh, dude, they did a cover of Sea of Love, which is outstanding.
It's a really good song.
Nice.
And I think one of Jeffrey's favorite songs of all time is a Plant song, Big Log.
Big Log.
Yeah, that's a stone cold smooth groove. If you've never heard it.
Yeah, listen to Big Log. It is a great song.
My love is
I have went back and started re-listening to some Zeppelin, and I get into it a little bit more. And I think that's because I don't listen to KC no more.
Right on. Yeah, I will curse the day of this radio station called Y95 that we had, because there's so many songs that I think I probably would have liked, but I hate because they wouldn't stop playing.
Right. Because
and I don't mean like once an hour, like every 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's one of the radio stations I was talking about in the last episode. They were a pop station. Y95 was, and they played. You know, they were playing the top hits of that week, and the top 10 you heard constantly. Too much
all the time. That's why I don't like Lisa and Cult Jam, because of Y95.
Okay.
Well, okay. Quesera is Spanish. Que sera is French. You don't take those two words and combine them. I'm sorry. Either say it in Spanish or say it in French. Don't say quesera because it drives me insane. Sorry, that was my soapbox.
Yeah. So I was going to say, when I read the Ballad of Jane, all I could think of was
Firefly. I did the same thing.
The hero of Canton.
I did the exact same thing. Jane.
I think I'd like that one better.
Yes.
It's an all right song, and honestly, I think LA Guns needed to be included in this list because they were really instrumental in this burgeoning.
I wouldn't have put them on this list.
I put Hanoi Rocks in this list too because Hanoi Rocks may be the first glam metal band.
Oh, okay. I had another reason why you probably put them in there, but
the guitar player, drummer, Razzle.
I think he's drummer.
Yeah. English was in the car with Vince Neil when he had a wreck and Razzle died.
Right.
And had he not have been a Vince Neil, he'd have gone to prison.
And honestly, that's
another reason why I don't like the dude.
Wait a minute. Repeat that.
If Vince Neil had not have been Vince Neil, he would have gone to prison for
Oh.
vehicular manslaughter.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I agree with you.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
agree with
And I think he used his fame and fortune to get out of it.
No,
Mhm.
no,
And
no,
I
no,
think
no,
that
no,
makes
no,
him
no,
an
no,
asshole.
no, 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 no. Fame and fortune ain't gonna keep you out of jail.
Nope.
He had the money from fame and fortune
Well,
to get
Okay,
a
there you go.
lawyer,
Okay, all right.
to get
Thank
a
you.
lawyer
I-
that kept
I'll
him out
give
of
you
jail.
I'll give you that. And not many people talk about it, but there was a girl who was paralyzed because of him.
Yep.
And it ruined her life. And unfortunately, people do not talk about her.
Yeah.
All no offense to Hannah Rocks, but
Yeah.
they only talk about Hannah Rocks, and they do not mention this poor girl who got her life ruined.
Yeah.
Because of Vince Neil and his stupidity.
Yep.
Yeah. Drunk driving and vehicular manslaughter. He should have gone to prison. That should have been the end of him as the lead singer for that band.
Yep.
And what did he get? Probation?
Yeah.
Well, and the good thing, and I realize we're talking about LA Guns, but you talk about Vince Neil. One of the things that I really, really appreciated about the movie The Dirt is they didn't hold back on telling how awful they were.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can't do that with Motley Crue. I mean,
No.
those guys were messed up.
Right. Well, I mean, and it's their story. They wrote it, and
Yeah.
they didn't hold back telling the story of just how terrible of people they were.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah.
So
Now, I honestly would not even know who Hannah Rocks was had it not been the story of Motley Crue. Hannah Rocks was just never played around here.
yeah.
We didn't know him. I honestly didn't even know this song that you put on the list at all. I know.
What'd you think of it?
It's okay. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was bad.
Just open it up. Let's just talk about that one on the list.
Okay.
Well-
Yeah. Sorry. I
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's in this list. So yeah, Underwater World.
it's an okay song.
Yeah, I'd actually never heard of Hanoi Rocks. And listening to it, I know why. I didn't.
They're
I,
European.
I didn't really like this song. Okay, I really didn't like the singer. The guitars were okay, and the song would have been much better had he not been singing.
Much more better.
Much more better. Drink.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, I think we covered Hanoi Rocks and LA Guns. They go on to the next song.
Wasp, which is the song I picked was Animal. Fuck like a beast. That's right. I said it right out loud.
That's
And yeah,
why-
you have to
That's
yell
why
that
we
part.
have the E for our show.
Yes,
I'm glad it was on your show and not ours.
So Wasp began following the demise of Circus Circus, a Los Angeles-based band featuring Black Lawless and Randy Piper. The original lineup of Wasp was formed in Los Angeles, California in 1982 by Lawless, Piper, Rick Fox, and Tony Richards. The band became notorious for its raunchy and at times shocking live shows. They kind of cribbed some of that from Alice Cooper, but they went in a more psychotic circus kind of vein with it, which Kiss ripped off like 20 years later with the Psycho Circus.
Oh, wait a minute.
Dude,
This
Kiss
is
did
like-
Psycho Circus in 99. They were doing the Psycho Circus in 82.
Yeah, but they didn't have body parts on their stage. Gene
because they
and,
couldn't afford it.
and Black. What? Kiss couldn't. What?
Kidding me?
Are you,
I
you know who Kiss is?
I thought, okay, I'm with you now.
Dude, Kiss.
I
could
didn't
buy
understand what you were saying.
They can buy all of us.
Right.
I thought you meant that Wasp didn't have body parts on the
Hell,
stage.
Tommy Thayer, who's a hired hand of Kiss, could buy us.
Right.
Yeah.
They wipe their butt with money. Blackie Lawless don't come anywhere near as far as money goes.
Well,
No.
this money is actually linen.
Well, okay.
Sorry, I work in the bank.
Yes. Hey, that's gross.
So
Sorry.
yeah, so this Psycho Circus thing that kind of stopped, and then they started doing something a little darker with the body parts. So that's when they started Wasp, and their debut single was Animal, Fuck Like a Beast.
There was.
And it was exceedingly controversial. Go figure. You think maybe it might be in the title?
Right.
Right.
They could have just called it Animal. No.
No. Blackie is he's going all out. He's
Yes,
not.
he is.
The man wore a saw blade over his crotch. Okay.
Yes. It's on the album cover.
But the funny thing about Blackie Lawless is Blackie is now a born again Christian.
Oh wow.
Yeah. In fact, one
Blackie
of their
was Jewish.
well, he is now a born again Christian.
Okay.
And in fact, his album from 2016, I believe, it's called Golgotha, and it's about the crucifixion and everything. It's a fantastic song. I love this song, Golgotha. It's incredible. Look it up. It's amazing.
Nice.
But yeah, he's now a born again Christian, and it's hard to think of Blackie Lawless, who was
Blackie Lawless.
one of the bad boys of heavy metal. Yeah, he's an outspoken Christian now.
Well, Wasp originally signed to Capitol Records for their debut album, Wasp, which was released on August 17th, 1984. The debut was at one time planned for release with the title Winged Assassins, the band's first single. Animal was omitted from the album in the United States to prevent it from being banned by major chains. Wasp was accompanied by the band's first world tour performing with numerous bands such as Kiss, Iron Maiden, Metallica, Dokken, Crocus, Helix, Quiet Riot, and Armored Saints.
And they fit in with every one of those bands too.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Now, shortly afterwards, the band made an appearance in the 1984 film The Dungeon Master, and on the soundtrack to Ghost Warrior's song Tormentor. They played a little opening of Animal in Dungeon Master. We discussed Dungeon Master as one of those weird sci-fi movies that no one remembers, except me.
You didn't tell what their name actually means. Their name is an acronym.
It's not white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Their name actually means we are sexually perverted.
Well, okay, then yeah, that fits right in with the
right, exactly,
with the saw blade codpiece.
Blackie was he was pretty much a genius when it come to marketing.
Oh my god.
I think he took a lot of lessons from Kiss in that. He took a lot of lessons from Alice Cooper. But yeah, the man knew how to market. He knew how to go for shock value. That was his big thing.
You know that Alice Cooper, his father was a Baptist preacher.
Yes.
And his father took a lot of grief in the church because he supported Alice.
Yeah.
He supported everything they were doing when they were when he was the band the Spiders.
Yeah, I believe his original band was the Spiders. I believe
and his father was a big proponent of them. He took a lot of grief in the church.
Alice is also a now born again Christian.
Yep.
Outspoken.
Well, Alice always was. I mean, his whole thing was showmanship more than anything else.
Sure. But he's had his drug and alcohol days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he used to drink a lot.
In fact, I was telling Brenda this morning, we were discussing this morning, the fact that Alice had told in one story how he would have a beer when he went to sleep. He would have a beer on the nightstand. So before he even opened his eyes, when he woke up in the morning, he could grab the beer and take a drink of the beer before even opening his eyes.
If you've never seen it, one of the best behind the MTV Behind the Musics was the one over Alice Cooper. It was phenomenal. And Alice talked about that, about needing the beer before. And it's so funny how much Alice Cooper is the character and how different he is when he's not in that character, because it just shocked the hell out of me. One day when I was bartending, had some golf tournament on, and I looked up and there's Alice Cooper, and I didn't know that he's a scratch golfer.
Yes.
And so he was on the pro broadcast, and it's so funny. It's just,
he's a huge golf fanatic.
Yeah.
He loves golf. Yeah, the guy is insane for golf.
Yeah, he lives on a golf course.
He sure does.
Bits Vernier.
He recently did an interview with Pastor Greg Laurie out of Harvest Chapel in California. Greg's a huge minister in California. I follow Greg a lot. I like his stuff, but he's recently done some interviews with different stars that you would not think are believers. And Alice is one of the big ones. It's a great interview. I highly recommend listening to it if you want. That's
wild.
If you want to hear some interesting Alice Cooper stories. And man, Alice knew everyone. He knew. I mean, he freaking knew. The Three Stooges. Stars from way back when, and they were all fans of his too. Alice he's got an amazing
he's doing vaudeville. Alice Cooper has always done vaudeville.
That's what all the vaudeville guys would tell him. They're like, your show is what we did. This is what we did. You know, except you're doing music. That's the only difference. And he's that's the
instead of brass, he has electric guitars. But there is no difference. You go to a okay, so there's two kinds of vaudeville. You've got vaudeville and you've got burlesque. Most people think burlesque is a strip show. It is not. It's an adult vaudeville show. It just doesn't exist here anymore.
Alice saw Kiss when Kiss first started, and he was quoted. They asked Alice, "So, what do you think of Kiss?" And he goes, "They're 4 Alice Coopers."
So
which I would take that as a compliment.
so what we've taken out of this, we should have left LA Guns out and put Alice Cooper on this list.
Disagree.
And
disagree wholeheartedly.
And it should have been Poison.
Disagree wholeheartedly.
Well,
disagree wholeheartedly. Alice Cooper is not. Alice Cooper is his own thing.
Since Jeff is always right, I'm gonna agree with Jeff.
There we go.
Oh God.
All right, Zig. Next song.
Photograph by Def Leppard. Yes. I think Def Leppard is awesome.
Uh-oh. I hear a
up until Hysteria.
What?
Hysteria was not okay. Hysteria is not Def Leppard. Hysteria, not Pyromania. Pyromania is still Def Leppard. Hysteria is a Mutt Lange album.
Okay. All right.
And everything after that is Mutt Lange.
So the thing about Def Leppard, which is really cool, they are one of the very few British hair bands.
Yes.
Pyromania was a big hit for them.
Yes. It was. And a good album.
But Hysteria was even bigger.
Yes, it was. Hysteria is also a pop album, not a hair metal album.
Yes. Hysteria is the one that brought them from heavy metal into mainstream.
I would say Hysteria is a pop metal album.
Yes.
Not a pop album. It's a pop.
Hysteria is a pop album. It might as well have been Lisa and Cult Jam.
Well,
no.
Hysteria is one of those albums, just like NXS Kick, where I like every single song on the album, start to finish.
I'm not saying I dislike the album. It got overplayed here.
It did get overplayed, but I still loved it every single time I heard it.
I do like several of the songs on Hysteria. It's not a Def Leppard album. It's a Mutt Lange album.
I totally disagree with you.
I do too.
Pyromania, that's a Def Leppard album.
I'm not arguing with that. Pyromania is a fantastic album. I love Pyromania. It's great. I love High and Dry. That's an amazing Def Leppard album.
High and Dry is a good album.
But
On Through the Night,
Hysteria,
I like that one.
Hysteria took them to heights that they never would have attained without that album.
Yep. Agreed.
And they became a true supergroup.
Oh, yes.
Yes. They were not a supergroup with Pyromania. Hysteria, they were a supergroup, household name. Everyone knew the name.
Yes. And so was Rick Astley. It doesn't make him any less lame.
Oh.
Here's where the fight's going to start.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, man.
I think Hysteria is... But matter of fact, Geoffrey and I had this conversation in an episode once. I went to because I heard like Women. I thought, oh, Women, that's a cool song. I like Def Leppard. I liked Pyromania. I'm gonna go buy this cassette. I went with somebody else. I think it was my cousin. I bought the cassette for Hysteria, popped it into my thing. I'm listening to it, and he's got a Depeche Mode, and I went, trade you. I had it for one day.
You traded Def Leppard for
Yeah.
Depeche Mode?
Yeah, I traded it for Music for the Masses, and I still do not regret that trade to this
Your
day.
parents drop you on your head
Yes,
Yes.
a lot.
Yes.
repeatedly.
A lot.
I can tell.
It does not mean that Hysteria was not basically Rick Astley with heavy guitars.
No.
I think we're gonna take a vote.
Yeah. Yeah, Zig, you're voted out on this one.
You lose this vote.
But Def Leppard's Photograph is a great song.
It is a
Well,
great song.
No one's arguing with that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I included it.
Nobody is arguing with that one. I love Photograph. Great.
All right.
I think that
Great
whole Pyromania album is great.
So we're right and Zig's wrong.
Yes.
I agree.
I agree on that one.
We'll move on to the next song.
Yeah,
but
we're
I'm
gonna have some disagreements on this next one.
I'm gonna take this next one.
Even though
I just want to
Yep.
say on the next one,
Nope,
it's about Paul Stanley's
no.
dick.
No
You earned
kidding.
you earned it for me.
Okay, go ahead.
And it's not about Paul Stanley, it's about Gene Simmons.
Okay.
It's Kiss's Love Gun, and it's about Gene Simmons' dick.
I disagree. It's about Paul's.
It's about Gene Simmons.
Yeah, I disagree. Paul has even used it in concert, and he's said it in concert. So
And I don't remember what song. I can't remember. Is it Detroit Rock City? It's one of the ones they play live all the time. I think it's Detroit Rock City. And
Detroit Rock City, they play all the time.
And you hear the crowd at the end of it screaming, "We want Dick! We want Dick!" Yes, listen.
No.
Yes.
Dude, I've been to numerous Kiss concerts. I've never heard.
I just
anyone
heard
chant that.
I just heard it yesterday.
I think you're hearing things.
That's what it sounds like.
Well, what do you got in your drink over there? I just got Diet Coke this time.
I've got Diet Pepsi.
I will say this. I think as far as hair songs go for Kiss, I think Lick It Up may have been more of a hair metal song.
This was not
agree.
Yes, this was not the song to put on this list. I mean, really, especially for us fans, what's not to like about Kiss?
Well,
Love Kiss. But there was a better song to put on here. Yep.
I'm wearing my colors, so Kiss has been my favorite band since I was 7 years old. The two things I loved when I was 7 was Kiss and Star Wars. My mom thought I would grow out of them, and to this day, I still haven't grown out of either one of them. I would disagree with Love Gun being on this list. I love Love Gun.
Yep.
Fantastic song. Don't get me wrong. And I love the album. It's a great album. But I would put either Lick It Up,
Yep.
Lick It Up,
on Fire,
Heaven's on Fire.
Maybe even Crazy Nights.
Heaven's on Fire, Lick It Up. Yeah,
How
Crazy
did
Nights.
that-
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're more heavy metal songs, right?
That was
Well-
so weird. I
Well,
had
and Heaven's on Fire came off the Unmasked album. When they first came out of makeup and they did their video out of makeup.
no, not Heaven's on Fire. Lick It Up.
Was it?
Heaven's on Fire's.
Were they
Heaven's
both on
on
the same
Fire.
album?
No, Heaven's on Fire is Animalize. Yeah, you got one of the biggest Kiss fans in the world
don't
here.
test them.
I gotta look at the.
Yes,
I get in trouble all the time.
Lick It Up is from the album, or Lick It Up's from the album Lick It Up, and that was when they took their makeup off in 1982.
Oh yeah, it is on Animalized, but they did. But in the video for Heaven's on Fire, they don't have their makeup on.
No, they don't. That was
Yeah.
after Lick It Up.
Okay, then that's why.
So that was part of the Kiss hair band era.
Yeah.
We shall say. Now the funny thing is you've got your next song, okay?
Now wait a minute.
What?
I want to talk about Kiss for a minute.
Oh, well, no, I'm still talking about Kiss.
Okay.
I'm not done. So your next song, you've got Motley Crue Looks to Kill, okay?
Mhm.
I would have actually put Kiss From the album Lick It Up, I would put oh gosh, I cannot think of the song name. Hold on, let me go to the Lick It Up album. I should have had this in my head before we started.
Well, that's all right.
While he's looking that up,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
When I was pregnant with Megan, we went to a Kiss concert, and oh my gosh, she kicked the entire time. And I was like,
Yes.
either she really likes this band or really doesn't.
That was in '96 during the reunion tour, by the way.
Well,
when the 4 originals were back.
she must
My
have
Kiss.
loved them, because when she was 3, Halloween comes around and I'm like, who do you want to be for Halloween? And she says
Gene Simmons.
So
Of course.
see this.
Everybody wants to be Hiram.
Hiram Witz.
So that's Megan when she was 3.
Yep.
That's
Full
funny.
Love Gun outfit too.
Yep.
So what I was gonna say though, so you got Motley Crue, Motley Crue on here, and I would have actually put All Hell's Breaking Loose by Kiss from Lick It Up.
That's a great
If
song.
you watch the Motley Crue, which song did you put? There we go. If you watch Looks at Kill video back to back with the Kiss video, they're almost the same freaking video.
I'll have to check that out.
It's insane. You could almost interchange them. It's so crazy. So yeah, check it out. You know, it's like this whole apocalyptic world they're both in, and they kind of have this battle and all this stuff. And I mean, it is almost the same freaking video. I don't know if they had the same director direct the video or what, but yeah, it's crazy. So I would have chose that for that reasoning. As far as hair, just to exemplify hair metal,
Heavens on
I think
Fire.
I would have chose Heavens on Fire, Lick It Up.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree.
And that comes from one of
You're the one that told me to put Love Gun on here.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
I said lick it up. Go into that text. I said lick it up.
I don't know. I wasn't there for this conversation. So.
I don't think so.
Because I'm like, you're gonna have to help me out with this hair metal. I know we're gonna have to do 20 songs, but here's what I got. He's like, no, you need to have this and this and this, and we need 2 Motley Crue songs. And I'm like, oh God, not 2 Motley Crue songs and Rat Round and Round.
Oh, Round and Round is great.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's not.
You were wrong.
It's not.
Wrong.
Rat can only write songs with 3 syllables in them.
So?
In the title.
Well, they only play 3 chords either. So what difference does it make?
Yeah, the Replacements only played 3 chords too, and they could write way better songs.
AC/DC only plays 3 chords also.
Yeah, but AC/DC's hot.
AC/DC is one of the greatest rock bands ever.
I would agree. Again, there's another band that crosses over with punks. Punks all love AC/DC, especially the Bon Scott era.
Yeah,
it chimes in with the punks for some reason.
And actually, Zig, you're wrong. I said Detroit Rock City or Love Gun.
You said Detroit Rock City?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't even include Detroit Rock City either. So I'm saying Lick It Up or Heavens on Fire. But if we're going 70s, yeah.
I didn't even think of Heavens on Fire, but actually, I think you're right. I think Heavens on Fire is a better tune. Yep. Although I kind of like both of those songs. And they are hair metal. It's Kiss doing hair metal. It's great.
Yeah. Well, that was all of Kiss in the 80s, so.
Yeah.
Tears Are Falling. That's a great one, too.
Oh, that's a good song.
I'm sorry. I'm having to laugh because I've gone back to look through the text.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Brenda, I'm so sorry, but I have to share this one. So Zig's comment was, Rat makes my dick itch. Warrant also makes my dick itch. And I responded, there are creams for that.
I can't believe you announced the text. We said we would never let that text up.
Most of it I never will. That was funny.
That was funny.
It
Oh.
does. Motley Crue, Looks That Kill is the next tune.
That one I totally agree with.
Great song. I think this is one of their best songs, and I also think it's their biggest hit video.
This is the third song that I cannot stand.
Man,
Big
what is
time
wrong with you?
Big time Motley
I don't
Crue.
like Motley Crue. Okay, it's not true. I don't like Vince Neil.
Big time sound in this.
Whoa,
Honestly,
wait a minute. Okay.
the only two, the only Motley Crue songs I really, really like are the ones that they did without Vince Neil.
I was going to ask you how you felt about the Motley Crue without Vince.
Yeah.
That was John Karabi. Actually, we saw him on that tour. I love that album. That
That's some good stuff. I
think
they should have gone on without it. I think they were better without it.
No, I'm sorry. Motley Crue is Vince Neil. You kind of need Vince. Well, not today.
No.
I think they should have gone with John Karabi, and Vince Neil should have been rotting in a prison cell.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with him rotting in a prison cell. That one I will not disagree with. But as far as Motley Crue and music goes, you know, a lot of people say that someone needs to go back in time and shoot Elvis Presley before he got fat and ugly. I kind of feel the same way about Vince Neil.
Yeah.
They should go back in time and shoot him right after Dr. Feelgood. Yep. I said it. Sorry.
I don't disagree.
Because that would leave us with Vince at his best, and we don't get any crap after that. Yeah. Although I gotta say, I did like Tattoo. Tattoo was a good album.
Like from Fantasy Island?
Yeah, well, I like him too, but
Get paid.
Blade, boss.
Hervey Villages.
No, they had an album called Tattoo, which Tommy had left the band at that point, and they actually had Randy Castile of Ozzy Osbourne fame. Yeah. And that was, we saw them on that tour, and I was super excited because I was going to get to see Randy behind the drum kit for Motley Crue. And then Randy got sick, and that was when the drummer from Hole took over for him. So, and she was okay. She was all right, but I really, really wanted to see Randy Castile. So, and then unfortunately we lost Randy. He passed away. Another great rocker that we've lost.
Mm-hmm.
So many of them, man. Not to put the show on a downer.
No, you're fine. The next song out on my list is Hanoi Rocks, Underwater World, which we already talked about.
Yep, go on.
Yep.
I will say this: a lot of people have cited them as an influence. Guns N' Roses, Skid Row, Poison, as a heavy influence. Even though the band it didn't play real big over here, a lot of those guys were influenced pretty heavily by Hanoi Rocks and stuff that they were doing in as far back as '79.
I would agree with the connection. You're right, especially Motley Crue. Motley Crue has always credited them as one of their inspirations, we shall say. But again, I wouldn't know about them had it not been for the Motley Crue story.
Right on. All right, the final band in both of our lists is Tesla in Love Song.
That's not the final band. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got way more.
Oh, so I do. I'm sorry. My notes jumped. There's a big gap in my notes. Oh, is that it?
Did we get like the extra edition?
Yes. Well, I don't know. Does it mentioning my dick itching anywhere in there? Because if so, you may have. There were several songs that were thrown around. Tesla is an American rock band from Sacramento, California. It formed in late '81. Bassist Brian Wheat and guitarist Frank Hannon formed a band named City Kid, which evolved into Tesla. By 1984, vocalist Jeff Keith and guitarist Tommy Skioch and drummer Troy Lucetta had joined the band, forming the classic lineup. Tesla rose to fame during the hair metal boom of the 80s. Their debut album, Mechanical Resonance, was released in '86, which produced 2 hit singles, Modern Day Cowboy and their cover of Little Susie. The band's second album, The Great Radio Controversy, peaked at number 18 on the Billboard 200, producing the top 10 single Love Song. During the height of popularity of the MTV Unplugged, the band recorded and released their third album, the live acoustic album, 5-Man Acoustic Jam, which was huge. They did a cover of Signs that everybody knows from this period.
That's right. Yep.
The follow-up fourth album, Psychotic Supper, peaked at number 13, but lacked a hit single. I actually thought Psychotic Supper was a pretty good album, but it was kind of getting away from hairband stuff. I always thought these guys were, they had more of again, that cowpunk sound to them, which I really, really liked, probably because they're from Sacramento. But their big hit single was Love Song, and it is a power ballad, and I wanted to include it in this list because to me, when you say power ballad, I either hear the one we talked about in the last list.
Home Sweet Home.
No, not Home Sweet Home.
Wait a minute.
Nobody's Fool.
No, not Nobody's Fool, which is a great song.
I Remember You.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I Remember You. I Remember You and Love Song. When I think of power ballads, these are the two songs that play in my head. Sometimes I get the two of them confused because they play at the same time in my head.
And this was another one I wasn't overly fond of, and I don't know anything else from them. The one song about this, or the one thing about this song that I liked, and I just found it humorous. It's got the Buck Rogers theme song in it.
Yes, it does.
Oh wow.
Yeah. If you listen to it real close, because I was listening to it when I was going through the list, I went, "Hey, that's the Buck Rogers theme song."
Yes, it does. Or if it's not it is awful close to it.
Yes.
They cribbed something off of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I just never got into Tesla.
Yeah.
It was not a band that was on my radar. I kind of liked them when 5-Man Acoustic came out.
Yeah.
Because that like you said, that was a huge hit. And there was some good stuff on it. But I don't know, Tesla, they just never. Again, I don't think they're a bad band, but I don't know. It was just meh.
Yeah. I'd rather move on to the next one. I think there's going to be some controversy here, but I think I think Mike and I are going to agree in here at one point when you hear what I've got to say about it.
Yes, okay. I will say this next song, We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister. I don't think it's necessarily hair metal.
It
but
is.
I love this song. So
it is. They are hair band to the extreme.
I know they're okay. So I do know that their fans had their own headbang. There's a Twisted Sister specific headbang.
Oh yeah.
You have to sit cross. You can't do it standing up. You sit cross-legged. You do it slow. You bring it from all the way back here. I hope you can see me on the video to all the way in front of you, and you only do it to Twisted Sister songs. I don't know if that helps the case or not.
I don't know. I'm a huge Twisted Sister fan.
Yeah.
I love Twisted Sister.
I wouldn't have picked this song.
I don't know. We're not going to take it.
There are better songs on Stay Hungry than this song, and the two that I have down. This is where I think you may agree with me. Burn in Hell and Horatoria. And Horatoria.
Yeah, but those are more for us who are in depth into Twisted Sister.
Maybe. But
that's not
way better songs.
I don't.
Yeah, but would you consider those songs? This song is probably the closest they've got
airplay.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
They got no airplay.
This song is probably the closest they've got to glam metal. Wouldn't you say? I mean, even though they look it.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
As far as a musical standpoint, this is closer to glam metal because again, glam metal is a lot lighter than heavy metal. Glam metal is way poppier than heavy metal.
Here's what I know about Stay Hungry. I wore that tape out.
Hell yeah.
You have to buy it more than once?
Yes, I wore that tape out when I had my hair mullet. It actually reminds me of another group that I wore out, which should be on this list as well, is the Scorpions.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
That's krautrock, man.
Scorpions.
See, I like
krautrock.
I like Scorpions, but I was not hugely into Scorpions. You know what I mean? Way more than Tesla.
Yeah.
Way more than Tesla. Because, Scorpions got some real deep.
Oh, I agree.
Roots.
I agree.
And they're
Scorpions are not hair metal. They are krautrock.
I don't know. I think they were.
Anyway. But Twisted Sister, I mean, first of all, you can't go wrong with the whole album Stay Hungry.
Right.
That freaking album is amazing.
Yes.
Along with Twisted Sister Under the Blade, Twisted Sister what was the black album? The album with the black cover.
Hang
The
on.
logo looks like it's in steel. Oh gosh. And
I'll have it here in just a minute. You Can't Stop Rock and Roll.
yes, you can't stop rock and roll. I love Twisted Sister. I mean,
I do too.
this band is fantastic. They really only had one mediocre album, and I actually still like that album. And that would be the epitome of hair metal, and that would have been the one after Stay Hungry. With and they had a duet with Alice Cooper in that.
Really?
School. Yeah, I can't find it in my list though. Let's go to Apple Music.
It was after Stay Hungry.
Yeah, it was after Stay Hungry. It was the next album.
After Stay Hungry would
Come Out and Play.
Okay.
Come Out and Play. That was extremely hair metal there. That was probably the height of Twisted Sister's hair metal right there. Come Out and Play. And they did do a duet with Alice Cooper called Be Cruel to Your School, which
Be cruel to your school. I remember that one. Because
Yes.
you may not get another.
Dude,
Oh,
not only featured Alice Cooper, but Brian Setzer, Clarence Clemens, and Billy Joel.
oh yeah,
Yep.
they played around with that one.
Wow.
And Bobcat Goldthwait was in the video for that too.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they bust in on them making the video in One Crazy Summer.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I've never watched that movie.
That's a good movie.
That's awesome. Well,
Oh, Savage
Bob-
Steve Holland. He's great.
Yeah,
Bobcat did a comedy special years and years ago, and Dee was in the audience when he did it, right? And he was telling somebody how he was in a Twisted Sister video or something. Or no. He said Dee calls him up and says, "Hey man, you want to be in one of my videos?" And he goes, I said to Dee, "I don't know, man. Do you guys worship the devil?" And Dee goes, flips his hair back and goes, "No, man, that's the crew."
Awesome.
I love Bobcat Goldthwait. He's awesome. So yes, Twisted Sister highly goes on this list.
Yep.
The next song on the list is More Than Words by Extreme.
Oh,
This is a power ballad, guys. I'm sorry. It
I'm-
was huge.
I don't disagree with you on that it is a power ballad.
I don't disagree with that.
It's a cool song. It really is. Early 90s, if I recall correctly.
1990, baby.
Okay. I was going to say either
1990.
90 or 89. It's a really good power ballad. I just don't know I would put this in hair bands.
I wouldn't put this in hair bands at all.
No, I would replace it with Night Ranger.
Agreed.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. No, it's more representative.
Okay. Hey, so Night Ranger, are we gonna get a framed Asia poster to go along with the Night Ranger while we're at it? Is that you gonna do that?
It's
Why-
more representative, man.
The
I think Night Ranger's kind of lame.
You're in trouble.
when Michael and I were not even dating, we went to a dance, a group dance or whatever, and this was the first song that he and I ever danced to.
Yep.
Was Sister Christian.
Sister Christian.
Sister Christian. Well, yeah, I mean everybody danced to Sister Christian.
I mean, it was our
It still doesn't make it less lame than Rick Astley.
It was their first. Oh, come on. Oh my gosh. And then You Can Still Rock in America. Come on.
Yes.
That Night Ranger, that first album by
Dude,
Night Ranger is
Night
just
Ranger
amazing.
is like the Bad Company after what's his name left.
No.
No.
I disagree.
No.
I disagree.
I'm not saying that they're bad songs; they're pop albums.
Your dad did drop you on your head, didn't he?
A lot. But
Tell.
I'm telling you, this extreme song fits hand in glove into that whole scene,
No.
especially as that scene was starting to come apart.
Nope. Take extreme out and put Night Ranger in.
Yep.
I'm gonna need lists from everyone. Okay, so we'll go past extreme.
Yep.
The last song on both of these lists is Van Halen's "Hot for Teachers." I will say this: I don't think Van Halen is a hair band.
Yes, they are. Yes, they absolutely are. Yes.
I disagree.
No, they absolutely. They stopped being a hair band when
Sammy Hagar.
when Sammy Hagar came in.
See, and I disagree with that too. I think if anything, they were probably more of a hair band with David Lee, because David Lee would fit more into the glitter rock and than Sammy does. But I still don't even consider either side of Van Halen, whether it be DLR or Sammy Hagar, Van Hagar, either one. I just don't consider them hair metal.
Yeah,
What about
They
what
never
about
really fit in with that.
Because if you
what
go
about
to
Gary Sharon when they had Gary Sharon as the singer? What do we think about?
when
we
you go to
don't talk about Gary.
when you go to
He was the one that
1984,
sang the last song
I
that we
know.
talked about.
I know.
1984 was a big hair band. Big hair band album.
That might be the closest you can get, but
1984 was it.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
it's a great song. I'm not saying
Yeah. I think everybody on this call agrees. "Hot for Teachers" is a great tune, right?
Oh.
Brenda?
heck yeah.
It's not the song I would have picked, but yes.
I picked it because I like the drums. I can listen to that drum opening all day.
I had the 45 of this.
Yeah, and David Lee Roth. Oh yeah.
For the kids out there, 45 is a smaller record.
You have to turn it over to get to the B side.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It only had 2 songs on it.
That's right. Sometimes
I don't
3 if it was a maxi single.
I don't remember what the B side of Hot for Teacher was, but I had the 45 of it.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think that Sky Climber, say like "Living in Paradise" by David Lee Roth, that came out shortly after the Van Hagar stuff,
Skyscraper?
Do you think that was hair metal?
Yes.
Yes.
Anything David Lee Roth after Van Halen? Oh yeah.
Even the jazz stuff he did.
Eat 'em and Smile
from the Heat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's all hair stuff.
Yeah.
That's all hair metal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Easily.
Dude, I listen to that and all I hear is jazz.
Nah. I mean, you hear the jazz because you hear Steve Vai's guitar. That's where the jazz.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Well, that's why he got Steve Vai. He's like, hey, I want to do these old jazz covers.
Well,
so you play them, and Steve Vai's like, yeah.
Well, you're leaving Eddie Van Halen. You got to get the next best shredder, and that's Steve Vai. It's either Steve Vai or Joe Satriani. That's why Joe is in Sammy's band now.
Oh, Joe Satriani's in Sammy's new band?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
or whatever band he's in.
Yeah.
Well, Joe was in. Okay, Joe joined when Sammy formed Chickenfoot.
Yeah.
Chickenfoot included Sammy Hagar, Michael Anthony, what's his face from Red Hot Chili Peppers, Chad Smith, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Joe Satriani. They did 2 albums together, and then their scheduling just would not work out. Chad couldn't tour because he was touring with the Peppers.
With the Peppers, yeah.
Right. So Sammy kind of rethought things, and he came up with the Circle. So with the Circle, it's Sammy Hagar, Michael Anthony, Vic Johnson, and Vic was in Sammy's Wabo's band, which Vic is he's a great guitarist too. You can't, Vic is another one who's underrated, that nobody knows who he is, and he should get a lot of credit. And then they got Jason Bonham, John Bonham.
Well, I mean, we can't get a drummer. We'll get Jason Bonham, a guy who was actually born to play the drums.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, you fit yourself. Sammy fits. He surrounds himself with some of the best musicians in the freaking world.
Yes, he does.
He's not an idiot.
No. Well,
And
and you know,
now,
we never talk about this, but Sammy Hagar is not a bad guitar player.
oh, he's not.
himself.
He's
No.
not. Now he's no Eddie Van Halen.
Well,
Right.
no, but
And
who
he'll tell you
is?
that.
Right. Which is
But-
which saying Eddie Van Halen, which is why there's a different song I would have had in this list, and it's a double song that should be played just like In Excess Tonight and Mediate should be played back to
Okay.
back. Eruption and You Really Got Me. You have to play those together.
Okay.
And 'cause
well, I
will not
Eruption-
disagree with that.
Eruption
won't-
is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't disagree that you have to play those together.
Yeah.
I would disagree that those fit in hair metal though.
Oh,
That's
I
just
think they still are.
that's
I think
just
they will be.
straightforward rock and roll. I mean, that's Van
It's like
Halen.
Akadaka.
Van Halen's first two albums are just straightforward rock and roll, some of the best rock and roll in history, honestly. I love Van Halen and Van Halen 2. They're just amazing albums. I think you'd be closer to put some of the tracks from 5150 with Sammy in here. I would even argue maybe I Can't Drive 55 by Sammy Hagar.
Yeah.
That-
OU812 is definitely hair metal.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that I would put the definitely on the front of that.
Yeah, I think
I think it's
5150 is closer than OU812.
Yeah.
5150 is closer, but I have a hard time putting that into hair metal. I don't know. I just have a hard time putting Van Halen in hair metal. Not that there's anything wrong with Van Halen. There's nothing wrong.
Again, I think everybody agrees. Van Halen's great. Hot for Teachers is great.
Oh yeah, amazing song, beautiful. Okay.
And that is it for my 27 pages of notes for these two glam and hair metals.
Awesome. Two long episodes because we still got to get into the murdery.
I'm sorry, I could talk days on music.
That's why we wanted you on. Because honestly, I don't got a lot on this.
Oh, yeah.
This is not my forte.
Oh, hey, before we move on to Jeff's side, I wanted to interject something about your metal episode. Zig, I was a little disappointed with you. Only because you didn't tell the story of Dave Mustaine and how he left Metallica. I was like, what? How do you tell Metallica story and not tell what happened?
I thought we told it when we talked about Megadeth. Did we
I
not?
don't remember. Well, I don't remember.
I think so.
I don't think so. So Dave Mustaine, he was originally in Metallica, and those were the really drinking days for Metallica.
Yeah.
Those guys were just drunk all the time.
Yeah.
And Dave did not get along with James and Lars. The three of them, they just did not mix whatsoever. So they all got drunk one night, passed out, and then the band and their manager got up before Dave Mustaine did, and they freaking left him. They just
Yeah, I didn't. Okay, I did not tell the story because I didn't know this story till just.
Oh yeah.
So they just got up and left.
They got up and left. He had no idea. They were gone.
Wow.
They're like, you're not only fired, we're leaving your butt here.
Wow.
That sucks.
Yeah. So Dave formed Megadeth, and he formed it with the intent of being bigger than Metallica. He came close. He came very close.
Wow.
I'm gonna say this: as good as Metallica is, Metallica couldn't have re-recorded a Sex Pistol song like he did. Could not have done it. Could not have done it.
I'm not going to disagree with that, but and I love both bands. I love Megadeth and I love Metallica, but I love Metallica more than I do Megadeth.
Yeah. Well, and Megadeth stayed a heavy metal band.
Oh yeah,
it stayed a heavy metal. Metallica did. Metallica went poppy.
Yeah, well, Metallica tried different things. They brought in Mutt Lange.
Yeah.
He was the producer for the Black album.
Black Album was great. The album after that, they might again, just like the Def Leppard album, might as well said Mutt Lang at the top.
See, now I like Load and Reload. I enjoy both of those albums. I hate Saint Anger and I hate Death Magnetic. Those are terrible albums.
Great names.
Yeah,
great album names. The album cover art is really good. That's about all I can say about those.
I hate the music on those albums though. Now it was funny. We went and seen Metallica.
Might as well have been Rick Astley with electric guitar.
Oh my gosh.
You are just stuck on Rick Astley.
Well, he's the first person I think of when I think of lame music.
Okay, fair enough.
So I think he's a closet fan.
Because
you complain about
kind of like Cowboys haters that are really closet fans. But yeah, and I hadn't listened to the latest Metallica album called 72 Seasons, and we went and seen them in concert here a few weeks ago. And then of course they played some tracks off the new album, and I was like, I might have to give this a shot. I love the new album. The new album rocks.
Good.
So and I've been really into a big Metallica mood for the last month.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now it seems to be Kiss.
Well, yeah, Kiss is kind of taking over right now. Because last night was their final concert.
We'll see.
Played their last show.
We'll see.
We watched the last 15 minutes of the show today, and I'm determined it's the final show.
Well, they are getting on up there.
Well, I was there. We were there for the farewell tour with Ace, Paul, Gene, and Peter. Ace, the four originals. And we didn't see this. Gene teared up on stage, and Paul, you could hear it in his voice, which made the two of us tear up watching it. I was like, we got emotional just watching it. Where
did you see it?
It was on YouTube. It was just like the last 15 minutes of the show. I'm sure it's going to be available to purchase later on. They did do a pay-per-view last night, but I'll wait till I can buy it and own it,
Right.
But yeah, I was convinced, and because I even joked, yeah, we'll see if it's their last show. And technically it's not, because they got this whole virtual reality thing they're gonna try and do, which looks interesting, but yeah, I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Well, they're getting on up there.
No,
you can't rock out like that at 70.
Right?
You just can't.
We saw a video of Gene falling over on stage recently.
Wow.
I mean, those costumes are huge and they weigh so much.
Yeah.
But when I seen Gene, he's got tears in his eyes. I'm like, this is it. They're done. Gene doesn't do that. Gene.
No.
So, hang on. I have to grab this.
Homeboy grew up in Haifa.
Yep.
During all of the troubles that were going on in Haifa.
Yep. Nice. I can't read it all. From the coffee house.
Yes, I got to go.
I'm so jealous, man.
Yeah. When I went to Myrtle Beach, the coffee house was still open. It's not open now.
Right.
But it was still open in Myrtle Beach, and I saw the Kiss coffee house. I'm like, yeah, I'm going in there.
We have a Rock and Brews in St. Louis. I still haven't been to it. Oh, I'm jealous. That's cool.
Yeah, the Kiss coffee house. It was awesome. I bought some coffee and I bought that mug. So, because that's of course.
Ooh,
if
how
you
was
see
their
this
coffee?
side. Oop, can't see it. There we go. It's the demon.
Oh yeah, with the icons. Yeah,
it's the demon.
Nice.
So the coffee was good. Coffee was good. Yeah,
good.
It was good. Awesome. All right, so Zig, thank you again for taking us down another musical journey. We appreciate it. It was a good two-parters.
I appreciate you guys for coming on to kind of help fill that stuff out, because I don't know a whole lot about hair metal other than what I remember.
For the most part, you did a great job on the list, and I've listened to it several times. Yeah, it's a great mixtape.
Yeah.
All right, with that, we'll step over to the murdery side of the house.
Murder.
For today, I got my information off All That's Interesting, the FBI website, and The Sun. And this is the story of the toy box killer.
The toy box killer.
I said last week, it can get worse. This gets worse.
Oh my lord.
This one can be a little brutal, so
I gotta
buckle up.
strap in.
Buckle up. So from the
Okay,
mid
here we go.
1950s to the late 1990s, David Parker Ray kidnapped dozens of women in New Mexico and brutalized them in his toy box torture chamber. No bodies were ever found. Ray was accused by his accomplices of killing several women and was suspected by police to have murdered as many as 60 people, 60, from Arizona and New Mexico while living in Elephant Butte, New Mexico, approximately 7 miles north of Truth or Consequences. Ray used soundproofing methods on a semi-trailer, which he called his toy box, and equipped it with items used for sexual torture. He would kidnap between 5 and 6 women a year, holding each of them captive for around 3 to 4 months. And during this period, he would sexually abuse his victims and often torture them with surgical instruments, sometimes involving his dog or his wife, who participated willingly. And then Ray would yes. And then Ray would drug them with barbiturates in an attempt to erase their memories of what happened before abandoning them by the side of the road.
Didn't you recently have a story about a married couple committing murders too?
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks back.
Ken and Barbie.
The Ken and Barbie.
Yep. So on March 19th, 1999, 22-year-old Cynthia Vigil was hooking in a parking lot in Albuquerque, New Mexico, when a man claiming to be an undercover cop told her she was under arrest for solicitation of sex work and put her in the back of his car. This was David Parker Ray, and he brought Vigil to his nearby soundproof trailer. He chained her to a table in the trailer, and over the next 3 days, he raped and tortured Vigil with help from his girlfriend and accomplice, Cindy Hendy. Ray and Hendy used whips, medical and sexual instruments, and electric shocks to torment Vigil. And just before her torture, Ray would play a cassette tape with a recording detailing what she would be forced to endure. On the cassette, Ray explained that she was to refer to him only as master and the woman with him as mistress and never speak unless spoken to first. And he would then go on to explain exactly how he was going to rape and abuse her. Vigil did say in a later interview, the way he talked, I didn't feel like this was his first time. It was like he knew what he was doing. He told me I was never going to see my family again. He told me he would kill me like the others. On the third day of her imprisonment, while Ray was at work, Hendy accidentally left the keys to Vigil's restraints on the table where she was chained up. Seizing the opportunity, she lunged for the keys and freed her hands. Hendy did catch her and attempted to stop her escape, but Vigil was able to stab her with an ice pick. Good girl. She ran out of the trailer naked, wearing only an iron slave collar and padlock chained, and in desperation, she knocked on the door of a nearby mobile home. The homeowner brought Vigil inside and called police, who promptly arrested both Ray and Hendy and learned of their many sickening crimes.
Wow, it's like 50 Shades of Gray from hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to say at this point, the S&M community does not condone this sort of thing,
No.
and they are not for it.
No. So David Parker Ray was born on November 6, 1939 in Belen, New Mexico to father Cecil Leland Ray, who was a native of Oregon, and his mother Nettie Opal Parker, who had been born in Texas. During his childhood, Ray and his younger sister Peggy Pearl Ray lived with his mother's disciplinarian parents, Russell and Dorothy Parker, Dolly Parker, on a small ranch due to their poor financial condition. He was sporadically visited by his violent alcoholic father, who would supply him with magazines depicting sadomasochistic pornography. If you want to raise serial killers, beat your kids.
Yeah.
Show them porn. Yeah. Be terrible to them.
Yeah. Drink, beat them up, show them crazy porn when they're like 5. Yeah, it's great. That's how you make a serial killer.
As a young boy, Ray was bullied by his peers and his shyness around girls. These insecurities eventually drove Ray to drink and abuse drugs, and he had sexual fantasies of raping, torturing, and even murdering women that were developed during his teenage years. When Ray was 14 years old, his sister saw his sadomasochistic drawings and pornographic pictures of bondage practices, and as a result, Ray and his sister became estranged. Based on statements made by Ray, he is believed to have begun assaulting women as an adolescent. In an advisory message that was taped recorded by Ray on July 23rd, 1993, he claimed, quote, "I've been raping bitches since I was old enough to jerk off and tie little girls' hands behind their back."
Holy cow. Nice guy.
I know, right? He even alleged to his first wife that he had committed his first homicide sometime in 1957 when he kidnapped a woman, tied her to a tree, and tortured and murdered her. However, authorities were unable to verify his account. He did serve in the U.S. Army and later received an honorable discharge. He was married and divorced 4 times and eventually found work as a mechanic with New Mexico State Parks, according to KOAT. And after years of drifting, he settled into Elephant Butte, where he became involved in a small underground BDSM scene, attending secret parties and clubs. So Ray met 37-year-old Cindy Hendy, who worked at a state park in Truth or Consequences, who was fleeing convictions on grand theft and drug charges in Washington State. They became romantically involved and bonded over their shared violent sexual fantasies. And in a 1993 recorded message, Ray told his captives they would be forced to sexually serve Hendy as well. To this day, it's unclear when Ray began his crime spree, but they believe it started at some point during the 50s. And it only came to light after the escape of Vigil. Had she not escaped, he would have continued on for longer.
Nobody would have known.
After arresting David Ray for the abduction of Vigil, the police quickly obtained a search warrant to search his home and trailer. And what authorities found inside the trailer shocked and disturbed them. Ray's toy box contained a gynecologist-type table in the middle with a mirror mounted to the ceiling so his victims could see what horrors were going to be delivered upon them. Littering the floor were whips, chains, pulleys, straps, clamps, leg spreader bars, surgical blades, saws, and numerous sex toys. It's thought that he terrorized many women with these tools for many years to help with the help of accomplices, some of whom were alleged to have been several of the women he was dating. Authorities also found a wooden contraption which was apparently used to immobilize Ray's victims while he, his friends, or dogs raped them. Chilling diagrams on the walls showed different methods for inflicting pain. He even made an 18-point instructional guide titled Psychological and Physical Procedures Initial Handling of the Captive Personal Fetish, and it was taped to the wall of the torture chamber. A sign cops found on the inside wall of the trailer read Satan's Den. And there was also a homemade electrical generator to electrocute his victims. In total, Ray is believed to have spent over $100,000 on the trailer, fitting it with sex toys and torture devices. Reportedly, Ray constructed
Wait, hold on. He had spent $100,000. Why not buy a house? I'm just saying.
Trailer's mobile.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Please continue.
Reportedly, Ray constructed elaborate contraptions to confine his victims, such as a fern-lined coffin and a makeshift pillory. In addition, there were also elaborate locks and pulleys to prevent his captives from escaping. But of all the disturbing discoveries found in the Toy Box Killer's trailer, perhaps the most horrifying was a videotape from 1996, which showed a terrified woman being raped and tortured by Ray and his girlfriend. Ray often had an audio tape, as I'd mentioned before, recording of his voice played for his victims whenever they regained consciousness. In the transcripts of the tapes, Ray detailed how he would occasionally release his captives after severely drugging them to induce amnesia to prevent women from reporting the assaults. He said on one of the tapes, quote, "I get off on mind games. After we get completely through with you, you're going to be drugged up real heavy with a combination of sodium pentothal and phenobarbital. They are both hypnotic drugs that will make you extremely susceptible to hypnosis, auto-hypnosis, and hypnotic suggestion. You're going to be kept drugged a couple of days while I play with your mind. By the time I get through brainwashing you, you're not going to remember a fucking thing about this little adventure."
Wow.
I was on phenobarbital for 7 years.
Man.
I had seizures when I was a little kid, and I had to take them till I was like 12, from like 5 to 12. I could tell you there are gaps in my memory from that time. Yeah. And yeah, I can see why that would make it. And it's to this day, I still can't take medication.
Wow.
Because it really messes me up. That's why I can't smoke weed. It messes me up. I mean, like full on panic attack. Phenobarbital is no joke, guys.
No. Well, amidst the publicity of the arrest of Ray after his abduction of Cynthia Vigil, another woman came forward with a similar story. Angelica Montano was an acquaintance of Ray's who, after visiting his house to borrow cake mix, had been drugged, raped, and tortured by Ray, and then she was left out on the highway in the desert. She was eventually picked up by an off-duty law enforcement officer and told him what happened, but he didn't believe her and left her at a bus stop.
What?
Well, how many of these have we talked about where somebody has gone to the police and the police don't believe them?
Yeah. No, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh my God. Thank you, Barney Fife.
She also later called the police about the incident, but they didn't follow up. So as I had said before, Ray drugged his victims while tormenting them using sodium pentothal and phenobarbital so they couldn't properly remember what happened to them if they survived the torture. But now, since Vigil and Montano were willing to testify to Ray's crimes, the case against the toy box killer grew stronger. Police were able to press Ray's girlfriend, Cindy Henley, who quickly folded and began telling authorities what she knew about the abductions. Her testimony led the police to discover that Ray had been helped by multiple people during the kidnappings and rapes. Ray's accomplices included his own daughter, Glenda Jessie Ray, and his friend, Dennis Roy Yancey. Jesse had actually tried to warn the FBI about his father's criminal activities in 1986. FBI agent Doug Belden recalled Jesse's claims, quote, "She alleged that David Parker Ray was abducting and torturing women and selling them to buyers in Mexico. However, the allegations were so nonspecific that the FBI were unable to arrest Ray."
They could have investigated.
I know.
Hey, this is going on. Hey, why don't you send somebody out in the field office down there to check this out, check this story out. You know,
I have
what's it cost us? He's down there anyway.
I have a certain a set of skills.
Yeah.
Well, at least some of these vicious attacks did end in murder. Yancey later admitted to participating in the brutal murder of Marie Parker, who was a woman who had been abducted, drugged, and tortured by days for Ray and his daughter before Yancey strangled her to death in 1997. Despite this, at least one more woman survived the toy box killer's torture chamber. Surprisingly, it was the same victim who was seen raped and tortured in the 1996 videotape found in Ray's trailer. After some details were released to the public about the woman in the video, she was identified by her ex-mother-in-law as Kelly Garrett. Garrett was a former friend of David Ray Parker's daughter and accomplice of Jesse's. On July 24th, 1996, Garrett had gotten into a fight with her then husband and then decided to spend the night playing pool at a local saloon with Jesse to cool down. But unbeknownst to Garrett, Jesse roofied her beer. At some point afterward, Jesse and her father placed a dog collar and leash on Garrett and brought her to the toy box trailer. There, David Ray raped and tortured her for 2 days. He then slit her throat and dumped her on the side of the road, leaving her for dead, but she miraculously survived the attack. But neither her husband nor the police believed her story.
Her husband
He had her throat cut.
In fact, her husband believed she had cheated on him that night, kicked her out of the house, and filed for divorce that same year.
Oh my gosh.
Dang.
Due to the effects of the drugs, she had limited recollection of the events over those 2 days, but she did remember being raped by Ray. His crime spree is again believed to have spanned from the 50s to the 90s, and he's likely able to get away for it so long because he targeted many women who were of low socioeconomic status. In addition, the fact that he drugged his victims made it far less likely for the few survivors to remember exactly what happened to them. And much about his crimes remain unknown, including how many victims he may have killed. Like I said at the very beginning, it's estimated that he may have killed over 60 women. While police were investigating his trailer, they did uncover evidence of numerous murders, including diaries written by Ray, which detailed the brutal deaths of several women. Authorities also uncovered hundreds of pieces of jewelry, clothes, and other personal effects, according to the FBI, and these items were believed to have belonged to his victims. That, plus the effort that Ray had put into the toy box, points to a horrifically large number of potential murder victims. The diary that Ray kept detailed what he did to each victim, but it didn't disclose where he buried any bodies. And according to Cindy Henley, Ray's fatal victims were dismembered and buried, dumped in the East Butte Lake or in nearby ravines. After his arrest, Ray agreed to show authorities where he'd buried his victims, but he died before he could do so. And despite all the evidence, authorities were unable to create additional cases. Although both Hendy and Yancey identified areas they believe Ray disposed of the bodies, police never found any human remains in any of those locations. Some of his suspected victims were Billy Ray Bowers, who was 53. He disappeared from Phoenix, Arizona on December 25th, 1988. On September 28th, 1989, the body of an unknown man wrapped in a blue tarp was found by a fisherman at McCrae Cove at Elephant Butte Lake in New Mexico. No identification was found on him, and it was determined he had been shot in the back of the head. The unidentified decedent was ultimately identified as Bowers in March of 1999 when authorities made dental record comparisons. In 1986, Bowers was co-owner of Canal Motors, a used car business that was on the North Van Buren Street in Phoenix, Arizona, and the employers employed Ray, who worked as a mechanic and was described as very talented, but was often in conflict with Bowers. When incarcerated, Hendy stated that Ray had told her that he killed Bowers and dumped his body in the Elephant Butte River. 22-year-old Jill Suzanne Troya was last seen at the Frontier restaurant in the 2400 block of East Central in Albuquerque, New Mexico during the late evening of September 30th, 1995. She had gone to a bar with friends earlier and then went with her girlfriend, Jessie Ray, when they left to go to the restaurant. Witnesses reported Glenda and Troy had an argument, and Glenda later told police she left Troy at the Frontier restaurant and left with her father, Ray, and that she and David went to the Elephant Butte Reservoir in southern New Mexico, but Troy has never been heard from again. Ray wrote detailed accounts of sexual tortures and burials of victims, including one where he described an Asian woman who fitted Troy's description. Among the possessions with his victims was a 2-page letter dated June 1990 to a young woman named Connie from Australia, from an Australian man named Mark. And according to Ray's journal, Connie was a white woman that he abducted and murdered in December of 1995. She was 18 years old, had long blonde hair, a birthmark on her chest, and was 160 centimeters tall. The Australian Federal Police and FBI conducted an investigation hoping to locate Mark so he would be able to identify Connie and her family and to her family and friends, but weren't able to do so. Her remains have never been located or linked to an existing unidentified or missing persons case. Sylvia Marie Parker, who was 22, was a homeless woman living on the shores of Elephant Butte Lake who was an acquaintance of Ray's via his daughter, who supplied her with methamphetamine and cocaine. Parker was also the mother of 2 children and was living with them in a tent she had borrowed from David. The police later discovered that Parker's boyfriend at the time was Dennis Yancey, who, as we had mentioned earlier, was one of Ray's playmates. Parker disappeared on July 5th, 1997, when she was abducted and subjected to several days of torture before accomplice Yancey strangled her to death under orders by Ray. Yancey took police to where he disposed of the body with David Parker, Ray, and Cindy Hendy, but the body had been moved. Yancey suspected, and the police support the theory that Ray came back to move the body later in case Yancey ever had a softening of his conscience and confessed. At 10:30 a.m. on June 30th, 1999, Ralph Tudor, who's a 61-year-old El Paso resident, was fishing in the Elephant Butte Lake. Caught on Tudor's fishing line was an 80-pound gunny sack filled with what he thought was animal flesh, and the sack was split along its seam. He then suspected it was human body parts and alerted the authorities. The gunny sack was determined to contain human flesh but no organs or bones. This meant the unidentified victim was mutilated and dismembered before being dumped in the lake. Allegedly, Ray said, quote, "The thing to do is cut them down the belly, scoop out their guts, fill the chest cavity with cement weights, and use baling wire to trap them up."
Wow.
Furthermore, state police found bone fragments in the Elephant Butte Lake belonging to a human leg in 2011. The DNA identified the victim as female, but she was not linked to any reported missing woman. So, while we may never know exactly how many people Ray murdered, his confirmed crimes against his surviving victims, Vigil, Montano, and Garrett, were fortunately enough to put him away for life. The toy box killer was ultimately sentenced to 224 years in prison, and he got that from a plea deal. And that plea deal was to obtain leniency for his daughter. As for Jessie Ray, she received a sentence of 9 years. Cindy Hendy was given 36 years in prison, and both she and Jessie were released early, and they walk free today.
Whoa.
In 1999, Dennis Yancey pleaded guilty to the 97 murder of 22-year-old Marie Parker in Elephant Butte. Yancey confessed to helping Jessie Ray lure Parker into captivity in her father's trailer. Yancey said that Parker was tortured and that Ray forced him to strangle the woman to death, and prosecutors noted no forensics evidence was found to tie Parker to the Rays. Yancey was also charged with kidnapping, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit a crime, and tampering with evidence, and he got 30 years. But the Rays were not charged in Parker's murder. In 2010, Yancey was paroled after serving 11 years in prison, but the release was delayed by difficulties in negotiating a plan for residence. At 3 months after his release in 2011, Yancey was charged with violating his parole, and he was remained in custody where he remained until 2021, where he served the rest of his original sentence. David Parker Ray died of a heart attack on May 28, 2002, not long after his life sentence began. He was 62 years old at the time of his death, and although several years have passed since then, authorities are still working to connect the toy box killer to his many suspected murder victims. FBI spokesman Frank Fisher said in an interview with the Albuquerque Journal in 2011, "We're still getting good leads. As long as we're getting those leads and as long as the exposure in the press keeps generating interest in the case, we're going to keep investigating this." The Albuquerque FBI in 2011 released hundreds of images of items that were collected during the investigation of David Ray. The FBI believes that some of the items, which included jewelry and clothes, may have been taken from his victims. And Frank Fisher said the FBI, according with its law enforcement partners in New Mexico, is aggressively pursuing leads in the search for remains of any possible victims of David Parker Ray. We're asking family and friends of missing people to look over these photographs and contact us if they recognize any of the remains. And I'll have the link to the notes, but the link to the FBI website containing pictures of the items will be found on our page in the show notes.
Remember, kids, if you see something, say something.
Absolutely.
These people need closure.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that's the story of the toy box killer. I warned you, it was going to be even rougher.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up, dude.
That's one I'd had on my list for a while. It's a pretty famous case and pretty brutal, pretty gruesome. So,
In this recording session, we also talked about the My Lai massacre, which was also pretty hardcore.
yeah, it was. That was released as of the release of this recording was released a couple of weeks ago. So,
Yep.
So awesome. That'll take us to the end of another week of recording. I do appreciate our guests once again, Brenda and Mike. Mike from Two Geeks and a Microphone, and Brenda, his lovely wife. We appreciate both of y'all for being on with the show.
Thank
And
you.
Brenda, I think I called you Deborah at one point because I was trying to say Dobro and then Brenda. I'm sorry about that. My mouth doesn't work as fast as my brain does sometimes.
At work, they refer to me as BS because that's my initials. It is what it is. So,
Oh no, you should tell them the story about getting pulled over by the cop.
oh yeah. So my license plate used to be MSBS 914.
Michael Shanks, Brenda Shanks, and September 14th.
It's our wedding anniversary.
Oh, nice.
So I figured that would be helping remember our anniversary.
Like I've ever needed help with
No,
that.
you have never. But so I get pulled over and the cop was like, what's your plates mean? And I was like, it's my husband's initials and mine and our anniversary. He says, sure. He thought it meant Miss BS. And I got a ticket.
Oh. Wow.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate both y'all from being on. We love having guests as always, and Mike has been on with us multiple times, and we've been on their show. So again, if you have never checked out Two Geeks and a Microphone, I highly recommend it.
Thank you.
That's
It's
Two Geeks, the number two.
number two.
Number 2. We stole
There-
that from Three Geeky Dads.
Theirs is a great show, and you just mentioned Three Geeky Dads. Theirs is a great show as well.
That's
I
the
love
number
listening to their-
3.
love listening to their shows. We've had crossovers with them before, and
Of course, the
it's
Three Geeky Dads don't know how to count because they've got
They've
4
got
Geeky
5.
Dads.
I thought it was 5 now.
No, it's
No,
4.
it's four.
It's
They
it's
had-
4, yeah. It's
it's
3 Geeky
Brian-
Dads, and there's actually 4 of them.
yeah, it's
Yeah, that's
It's like
right. that's
Hitchhiker's
right.
Guide to
Mark.
the Galaxy. It's a trilogy.
Brian, Mark, Derek, and Tito too.
I was thinking they had brought somebody else in at one point, but I may be wrong.
Well, they've had Steven and I on, so
Yeah, but that'd be 6 at that point. So
right.
awesome. Thank you. We do appreciate y'all. As always, you can find more information on our website, nerderyandmurdery.com. That's our hub for everything about the show. You'll find links to this for what we talked about in this episode, as well as pictures from this episode. And you'll also find the link to our YouTube page where Zig puts up lots of videos.
Yes, there'll be videos for this. I need you guys to send me the list of the things that I need to include in both of these lists, and I will make sure that they get on there as well as this video. So when it airs, you'll be able to see the whole thing.
Awesome. You can also find the link to our merchandise, where if you wish to show off your Nerdery and Murdery fandom, please do consider purchasing one. Zig's got one of our t-shirts on now. Saw earlier.
Nice.
In Nerdery Yellow, baby.
That's right, Nerdery Yellow. So do consider purchasing something there. That, along with our patron, does help us with the cost of our show. There are costs that are associated with keeping us running, keeping us on the air. It's not free, and we need some help with that. So please do, if you want to purchase some merchandise or become one of our patrons. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. And last but not least, please don't forget to leave a 5-star review wherever you can. It really helps us and helps others find our content that may be looking for the stuff that we're talking about. So for our final recording of this week, we went really long. We'll let Mike and Brenda sign out.
Well, for Two Geeks and a Microphone, I've been Mike.
And I'm his wife.
Zig.
And I'm Zig with your Nerdery.
And I'm Geoffrey with your Murdery.